The tale of Sleeping Beauty, like the old house in Schimmeldewoog, Germany, is telling it for family and friends in America. The video clips of this film were made 2020 until 22, when the bigger family could not meet or be together, and life seemed to be frozen. The film project gave us a chance to bring family together, not in real life but virtually. Parents and kids, aunts and grandparents, friends and relatives. They all take part in this adaptation of the old German fairy tale of Dornröschen. The Forresters' old house in Germany and its atmosphere take part in telling the story too. Oh, and the clocks in our house illustrate thoughts and reflections about time. Yes, it's getting a little philosophical, especially towards the end of the film. It's a slow film without action scenes, but if you're patient enough, you might get attracted by this magical sphere behind our visible reality and enjoy our film Sleeping Beauty and the flow of time. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful castle in Schimmeldewoog, where a royal couple lived in, King David and his beautiful wife, Queen Melanie. But the young queen became more and more sad, from day to day, from year to year. "What's the matter, my dear wife?" the king asked.
Ich wünsche mir nichts so sehr, als dass ich ein Kind hätte.
She was longing so much for to have a baby. "Let's see what we can do about that," the king said. The young queen smiled, and soon night came over the castle in Schimmeldewoog. And the next morning, the queen did not look so sad and depressed anymore. Days went by, and weeks, and months. Winter came, and when the new year had started, very soon the queen's wish became true. She had a little baby, a little girl. The queen was so happy. And the little girl was so sweet and beautiful, like a rose on a summer morning. The king and his wife wanted the whole world to know about their happiness, and they sent a herald to spread the good news. The queen was descended from a dynasty in Swabia, and so a little knight with helmet and weapon was sent as a messenger to her homeland. The Queen's father gave order to ring the bells and have a service of gratitude in church. Meanwhile, in the castle in Schimmeldewoog, they prepared for a big celebration. The Queen wanted to invite all the family members.
Ach nein.
The King, however, did not like it when the guest room was full of family talking and laughing and making a lot of noise. But the Queen insisted to invite the whole family.
Laden die ganze Verwandtschaft ein. Also Hänsel und Gretel, Rotkäppchen,
Red Riding Hood
und den gestiefelten Kater,
Puss in Boots, all the characters of the Grimm fairy tales.
Aschenputtel und die Brüder Grimm sollten wir einladen.
Aschenputtel finde ich gut.
The King thought the only person who could be useful was Cinderella.
Und Rumpelstilzchen.
The Hobgoblin with his parents and grandparents.
Das ist wundervoll.
The poor Sterntaler girl who loved to eat chocolate cake. That's okay, the King said. We have enough chocolate cake. The devil and his grandmother, they're really nice, the Queen said. Well, how many people is that altogether? Only 48, the Queen said. Naturally not including the children. The King had a rather uncomfortable feeling. He turned his eyes to the ceiling and thought, couldn't I just put all the clocks 2 hours in advance? Then the celebration would be over before it hardly had started. But that was not possible either. The Queen would notice she knew all his tricks. Oh, it would be so nice to have Snow White here.
Ach nein.
King said. Then she's not really watching them, and all those midgets are running around the table and screaming and making noise, and oh, it's terrible. Snow White looking for her little midgets and counting them. That's fun, das macht Spaß, that's fun, they screamed. But the King knew that for him it would not be fun at all. And he said to his wife, if you invite all these, I will hide in the small room in the highest tower of our castle, and I won't come out until they're all gone. The Queen realized when she could not carry her point with her husband and suggested, but at least we invite the 13 wise fairy aunts. The King said, does that really have to be? But she said, they're important. Their good wishes will accompany our daughter through her whole life. Okay, then the wise fairy aunts. But the 13th, the old, ugly one, I don't want to have here. You cannot exclude one. Couldn't we say we only have 12 golden plates? You have to know that in the original German fairy tale there were 13 wise elderly women, and since they had only 12 golden plates, one was not invited. Here in the castle in Schimmeldewoog, There were only 2 golden plates, but lots and lots of dishes. And whenever we have a celebration, there's the question what dishes we use. The old aunts knew that, and they were laughing. When always the maiden Anna was called to present all the dishes for the queen to choose. When finally the decision was made, everybody helped setting the table, and soon everything was ready and the guests could come. In the original fairy tale, there were 13 wise fairies, and that gave us the chance to let a considerable number of family members come together in this film.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Schönheit.
There is Friederike, one of Gabriele's sister, and then Grandma Elke, Anna's mother-in-law.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Fleiß und Ordnungsliebe.
Lydia, Bärbels daughter-in-law.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Begabung zum Zeichnen und Malen.
Das ist Jasmin.
Ich wünsche dir einen Sinn für Symmetrie und Schönheit.
Well, you can see King David was wrong when he expected the fairy aunts to be elderly ladies and ugly. Some of them were young and pretty.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Glücklichkeit.
Anna. All the fairy aunts were bringing good wishes for beauty, happiness.
Ich wünsche dem Kinde Fröhlichkeit.
Gabriele's friend Susie and her daughter Lisa.
Ich wünsche der Prinzessin Freude an Tanz und Bewegung.
Pleasure with dancing, creativity and the gift of painting, compassion with others.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Freundlichkeit und Mitgefühl.
Gabriele's old friend from study time, Andrea. Gabriele's youngest sister, Esther.
Ich wünsche der Prinzessin viele schöne Träume.
Nice dreams, trust in life, an open mind.
Ich wünsche dem Kind Offenheit und Vertrauen.
And a good heart.
Ich wünsche dem Kind ein gutes Herz.
Out of a sudden, a shadow was creeping over the wall. The 13th fairy had come, and she was so angry because she hadn't been invited. Poor mother's heart stopped beating.
Die Königstochter soll sich an ihren 50.
When the princess will be 15 years old, she shall hurt herself with a spindle and fall down dead. How could somebody be so wicked and evil to put such a curse, such a malediction over a poor little baby? Then the witch went away, followed by the dark shadow. The good fairy Aunt Bärbel, however, had not made her wish yet, and since she could not annul, but only soften the curse, she said,
Es soll aber kein Tod sein, sondern nur ein 100-jähriger Schlaf.
It won't be death, but only a sleep of 100 years. The king gave order to burn all the spinning wheels and spindles in the whole country, but the spinning wheel in the attic of the castle they forgot. Time went by, and soon nobody thought about the curse anymore. The good wishes of the fairy aunts, however, all became true. The princess was pretty. She had a gift for drawing and painting, and enjoyed to dance where she was specially gifted. She was a happy child, had nice dreams, an open heart and trust in life. She was kind and friendly with others, and she had a good heart. The princess did not stay the only child. There were more and more. Katharina's 3 little girls, Anna's kids, and Sleeping Beauty's cousin from the other side. And the queen had a boy too. And when, in addition to these 3 girls, a little prince was born, the family tree was full. And now time had come for the wishes of the last 2 fairies to be fulfilled. One day, the princess had an idea. She wanted to find out what it was like up there, under the roof. Without anybody knowing, she silently went upstairs. The princess heard the clock ring. It was as if she had come into a dream world. And like in a dream, she went on and looked around. She was alone by herself, but sometimes she had the feeling as if somebody was watching her. She had a beautiful rose in her hand. And then she looked into the corner where the spinning wheel was. An old woman was sitting behind the spinning wheel, murmuring and whispering. And she had a spindle in her hand, but the young princess didn't know what that was. Then again the princess heard the clock ring. And like in a dream, she stepped into the little corner where the spinning wheel was. And it was as if she was drawn in by a magical power. Schau mal, schönes Röschen, was ich hier für dich habe. Was ich hier für dich habe. Hier, nimm es, die Spinne.
Es soll aber kein Tod sein, sondern nur ein 100-jähriger Schlaf.
It won't be death, but only a sleep of 100 years. Of 100 years. Of 100 years. Together with the princess, everybody in the whole castle fell asleep. King and queen, asleep of 100 years. Aunt Bärbel and the cousins, asleep of 100 years. Uncle and aunt, who just were sitting there drinking their coffee, asleep of 100 years. Asleep of 100 years. Time had stopped. Is that possible? Can time just stop to flow? And what happened while Sleeping Beauty was laying there? Was there all movement simply frozen like it is told in the story? At least the thorn hedge was continuing to grow, for even while the 100 years of sleep, evening came, and night, and morning again. Days were coming and going, years were coming and going, and by the thorn hedge was overgrowing the whole castle. Many years had gone by. The castle was completely overgrown with thousands of roses and thorns, and hardly anybody could remember that there once was a time when that was different. Old people told the story that there was a beautiful girl lying in the castle sleeping. After 100 years, a prince would come and wake her up. Sometimes you have to just wait. Wait and do nothing. Wait for a special, predetermined moment. And when that moment has come, then things often go by itself. In the fairy tale, the thorns were said to simply open up after the 100 years were over. But the young prince, who was supposed to be Sleeping Beauty's redeemer, was a brave fighter, and he found it much more interesting to attack the thorn hedge with his sword. But anyway, just like Princess Sleeping Beauty, he had to go upstairs, enter the mysterious world of the attic. Only here he could find the corner where the Sleeping Beauty was laying. The prince walked further, without any fear, holding his lance with a beautiful golden tip. He walked further into this enchanted place. Now he was close, he could feel. Did he find the place where the princess was laying asleep? And was she really so beautiful, like people said? Did he see Sleeping Beauty, or did he only see the corner with the spinning wheel and the roses? Or did he only see the corner of the attic without any fairy tale decorations? In order to see the princess, one has to open up for the magic atmosphere of the fairy tale. Here the prince has the spindle in his hand. That's what he found. And maybe the spindle was the thing that he was looking for, what caught his attention. The princess, however, he could only see with his imagination. He did not wake her up with a kiss. Maybe it was simply not the right time yet. Maybe the princess hadn't been sleeping long enough. The prince had not hit the thorns long enough with his sword. Or maybe he could not meet her because of Corona, the pandemic restrictions. Another prince, as little brother, not being affected by these rules, did the job and kissed Sleeping Beauty. Now time started to flow again, with the tick-tock of the clocks and the steady trickling of the sand. All the people were waking up from their sleep. Things were like before.
Matilda, hallo.
Same procedure as last year, Sophie.
Same procedure.
The bonnets were put in order, the clothes also, and then everybody continued where life had been interrupted. And coffee and cake tasted just like before. How long might the interruption have been lasting? Certainly not 100 years, but time cannot really be measured in years. Sometimes time is running so fast, and other times the hours are dragging out terribly. When the flow of life and time is standing still, structuring units like hours and days and weeks don't give orientation anymore. Days have no structure. Time is flowing anyhow. It never stops, and nothing is ever just like before. Everything changes with the flow of time. Between the pictures of these two princesses, there are only very few years. And here, there's barely 2 years, and such a change. Well, almost 2 years had passed since Sleeping Beauty had been waking up. The water in the Frog Princess well was running and splashing without a stop, running and flowing like time. And everything is changing with the flow of time. The princesses had been growing, from the Frog Princess well, the whole fairy tale group walked further over the valley and up on the other side of the creek, where an old wise wizard magician lived. Here they had arrived at the house of the old wizard. It was overgrown with green, almost like Sleeping Beauty's castle. And inside, it was full of pictures and very special, fascinating things. Here he was, the old wizard, and here came the children. He welcomed them friendly, and then he started thinking, what could he give the kids as a word of wisdom, concluding the story of Sleeping Beauty? And the children were listening attentively when the wizard started his speech.
Die Zeit kann man nicht anhalten und die Uhren nicht zurückdrehen.
You cannot stop time, and clocks cannot be turned back. Sometimes they might have stopped or been out of order, like this clock here. But remember, time cannot be stopped.
Wir können nur die Zeit manchmal weglegen.
Time you can only put aside. Hide the hours behind the curtain while being together and being happy. That was the word of wisdom the old wizard gave the children.
Die Zeit manchmal weglegen. Beim Zusammensein und glücklich sein. Ja, so ist es.
He was a wise old man, had many ideas and thoughts about time and life. Besides, he was a painter, and in this picture he had shown how the hand of the painter behind the painted sky in the picture enables a view into worlds behind the reality of our direct environment. And this fairy tale about Sleeping Beauty and the flow of time also is an invitation to look into worlds behind the directly visible reality around us. And time goes by. The last hours of the day slowly are fading into darkness. We're in the year 2022 already. Time has gone by so fast. And what stays? And how can I keep the years and the precious moments that they were filled with? Moments of togetherness. Spring and summer, autumn and winter, and we're standing in the middle of this circle of time. Birds fly in the summer sky, up there above. Swallows fly south and come back according to a plan that lays inside them. Spring and summer, autumn and winter, And we're standing in the middle of this circle of time. Why are you worrying? Why are you so anxious about so many things? Soon you'll be gone too. You will also drift away. But bright will shine the summer sun. And swallows will be flying there above.
Yeah.